Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. It is Monday, and yes, it is time to talk. Regardless of what you're hearing out there, there is a Major League Baseball card today that we are going to cap and go over. And the good part about it is we have 30 minutes to spend on this card. Sometimes, guys, 12, 13, 14 games on the card. We only got a few here, so we can take a deep breath and take our time. My weekend was fantastic. Mother's Day, everything worked out well. Friday night, left the show there with a best bet and banker, which came in and cashed, moved me to 13-6 overall. So deep breath tonight. Don't have for myself a play of the day, but as always, we'll be firing on some stuff that does make some sense here with Jason Radowitz and also Purviance, the sportsbookreview.com Major League Baseball team. How was your weekend, Jason?
Yeah, it was Mother's Day. That was fun. The Dodgers leaving over 26 runners on base. Yeah. Not so fun for me in that game yesterday. It's kind of been a theme with my picks lately. But again, like you go and you bet off a chance. You can't bet off of this is easily going to happen. But if you were to tell me there's going to be 26 runners on base, all I need is 5 runs, I would take it right away and still got that L. But we're back out here on Monday. I did go 2-0 on Friday, I'm pretty sure, for the show. So I guess the people that were on the show and only listen to the show, they're looking good. Not my pocket, their pockets are looking good. So that's a good thing here. But yeah, small card should be fun, and still waiting on some starting pitchers to be announced.
Yeah, some good stuff today. We are waiting on. So we're going to project in a couple of these games, Kyle, as we look. But also good news today as well. I don't have the ticker out for you, Kyle. So you're more than happy to go on, scroll through, not be able to find odds, and we'll take our time.
It's going to be the weirdest thing not getting that STFU button raised on me while I'm talking. I don't know what to do with myself, but I did have a great weekend. I hope all the moms who are watching, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. I hope all you gentlemen treated the moms nicely, called the right ones, and got some presents. It was a good weekend when we had a little 2-1 Saturday. We tweeted some stuff out. Friday was really good. Hey, it's a weird card. It's one of those cards, you wake up, you go to bed, you're like, ooh, nice, 6 games. This is going to be nice and easy to do the research. And then you start looking at it. It's like, you go out on Saturday night, you bring home, you think you brought home a beauty, and you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I brought home Bam Bam Bigelow. What the hell did I do? That's sort of how today feels. But there's some spots today. And don't worry, Jason's going to have, 4 or 5 official plays today. So that's going to go really nice.
It exactly is. You know what else is going really nice here for us at sportsbookreview.com? You guys joining us in the chat box, supporting all the shows that we have across the channel. 85,700 subscribers here. Thank you for coming in here, saying hello, hitting that subscribe button, and turning your notification bells on. So when we go live, you'll be able to talk some Major League Baseball. Now, I always like to bring a little part of my life into play when we come on here and talk about these shows. It's May the 10th, 2021, right? May the 10th. 70 degrees, maybe 75, maybe. Hey, Lynn, look, it's going to be 80 a little bit later this week. That's a normal mid-May for us here in the Northeast, typically in the New Jersey, Philadelphia area. I walked the dog this morning. I had on a hoodie, a coat, a ski cap, and saying, where am I actually at this point right now? Where is our hitting weather at? Because we do segue into a game that's already been canceled today, the Colorado Rockies. 39 degrees at first pitch. Like, are we kidding me? We're going to actually play that game. But I don't know what is going on. Somebody please turn on the globe here so we can get some hot air blowing. But why don't we get right into some of these games here and have some fun talking about them. Cold weather conditions here in Pittsburgh. We do know it's a pitcher's ballpark out there at PNC. 901, 902, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. That's going to be Maley and Keller on the mound today. Opened up as a favorite offshore, -134 to the Cincinnati Reds. That has since climbed up to 148. Colin Moran not available in the lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates, heading to the DL. Maybe their best hitter, obviously. Maybe their only decent player that they have. Over-under opens at 8, now sitting at 7.5 across the board. I do think Cincinnati has a much better lineup and a much better pitcher today. But again, we're talking about conditions here in the 40s, big ballpark. I'm going to start with you, Jason. What are we looking at here between the Reds and the Pirates?
Yeah, I'm not looking at anything in this spot here. Again, the Reds, they obviously are the better team. They obviously have the better offense, especially with Moran now not being there for the Pirates. Maybe Pujols goes to the Pirates. I heard some rumors there about that. Let's see what happens there.
Oh, boy.
That probably would not be the best idea moving forward. But again, yeah, look, the Reds, they've struggled a lot on the road hitting the ball, and that scares me enough to stay away, because it's not just been 1 game, 2 games. It's been plenty of games, and the Reds just continue to put up eggs on the road. So staying away from this game, I think there's value on the Pirates, but do I trust the Pirates either? Absolutely not.
I'm looking at this game overall, and I'm seeing like Mitch Keller, who I think is a bad pitcher, xFIP 5.32 on the season, not getting lefties or righties out, not a huge strikeout guy, walking too many batters. If we take a look at the Reds lineup today, Senzel, Winker, actually it just became official. Senzel, Winker, Castellanos, Moustakas. Let's see what we got here. Naquin, Suarez, Barnhart, and Farmer. I don't have it updated on my app yet, but there are some pretty good shots here that you could take a look at. Winker, Castellanos, Moustakas all rate well. Let's see. Eugenio Suarez is now going to flip down behind Naquin, and I'm trying to find Naquin's numbers are decent as well. 282 ISO power number with a weighted on base average of 390. You're going to get a pretty cheap number here. I do have this down as a nice little fast food play for myself, but again, keep in mind, it's cold conditions, it's a big ballpark, and Kyle, I'm going to lead you off with this. Maybe one run is all you need against Pittsburgh today.
Exactly. That's the problem. And after all this stuff we're saying about Pittsburgh, and the Reds certainly have a better lineup, I still think I'm taking a little bit of pain here, and I'm going to go with the Pirates. Just in terms of 3-year weighted adjusted OPS, the Pirates actually do, even without Moran, their only legitimate hitter, really. They still profile a little bit better. I will say Molly's had his last couple of starts against Pittsburgh. He's been pretty good in DFS. I certainly have a little exposure there, but he's really expensive. Keller, much cheaper. He had a 46, couple of the starts struggle. This is really tough. I think it's a coin flip game. So when I look and I'm getting, plus 150 money line in the first 5, maybe they get lucky here off of Molly, get a couple hits. And keep in mind, the Reds are a team, I like to do first 5s and stuff, but keep an eye on the Pirates live. Because once Molly's out, you're getting that Cincinnati bullpen, who is absolutely dreadful, the second worst bullpen in the major leagues. So this could be a nice live betting spot for the Pirates. Maybe, they only score 1 run those first few innings, and you can get a 1.5 or a 2 and do the Mr. Donnie RightSide, jump all over it and win yourself some McDonald's money. And so that would be what I would do with this game. Too dangerous for me to bet the full game. Even the first 5 makes me nervous. I'm just taking the plus spot. But I would wait, live bet this after the 5th, 6th inning and take advantage of that Reds bullpen.
Yeah, 5th, 6th, 7th innings here are those, bullseye zones that if you're looking to jump in team totals, you can really do some damage. Get depressed lines, get 2 guys on base, have a decent number to look at, and it continues to pay dividends. So it might be one of those games that we look at, but it looks like Todd Frazier, I believe, was waived today in order for Ben Gamel. So he was in the anticipated lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Obviously not going to be there, but if we're looking at a lineup here, for the Pirates, ISO power numbers, every single player on this expected lineup is below the Major League Baseball average, outside of Evans, who's a .177, which is just above the average. So you're not going to get a lot of, pressure points from me on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Like, hey, let's dip in. And we always joke about it, Kyle included, saying, watch Pirates come out and drop a 6 spot here early in the first 3 innings, and you just end up scratching your head. But not a lot to love in this game. But I do think Cincinnati is the better team. Am I looking to lay like a 150 number on the Reds at this environment? No, I'm not. Am I looking to pay down 3.5 here, minus 150? Is listed at MGM as a team total for the Reds. It's a little bit expensive for me on the 150, and not because I've taken 150s. I took a 150 on the Cardinals on Friday night with 3.5. A little bit different lineup here in different conditions that you're trying to battle into. So when you're paying that number, sometimes you want to get the best points of it. 4.5 plus 110. I don't know if they can get the 5. Maybe they can, but I do have the Reds circled here as a chance once we get some of the finalities here and see what some of those rainy conditions are. Now, also, bring up, since we have a little bit extra time here, Jason mentioned Albert Pujols going to the Pirates. And if anybody follows me on Twitter, I'm sorry, like everybody sticks together when you're in Major League Baseball. How dare the Angels release this Hall of Famer? How dare Albert Pujols take $240 million and suck with the Angels? Yeah. He's lucky. He should have retired 4 years ago and said, you know what? I'm a man of conviction here. You signed me this $240 million. I have $100 million left on this contract. I don't even want it. I've been bad. I will retire. And then I would say, you know what? That is a man that knows what he's doing. The fact that Albert Pujols got released, he should have been released 3 years ago. You don't do that to a Hall of Famer. You don't release him like that. Albert Pujols should have retired 2 years ago, so they never had to release him. And last I checked, they're still paying him as well. So I don't know what the Angels are supposed to do with a guy hitting like 150 and can't run the first base. Jason, quick thoughts on the Albert Pujols situation.
Yeah, it's a weird situation because, a lot of the players like to have that kind of farewell tour, and Pujols isn't getting that. So I think that's where it comes from. They did what they had to do, and obviously he wasn't hitting the ball. And that's the truth. He wasn't providing that offensive lineup. Really, there's only 3 hitters in that lineup that can produce in that Angels lineup. especially with Rendon out right now. So, yeah, I get it. It would be cool if he had that farewell tour, but they had to do what they have to do. It is a business at the end of the day, and that's what happened.
No, you're right. And Kyle, could get your quick thoughts on this, because the one thing, I like to hate on players, but warranted for the hate. But the fact that almost swung the argument in my favor towards Pujols was ripping Joe Maddon for being a bad manager tactically. I'm like, you know what? Do I really hate Albert Pujols, or do I love Albert Pujols?
I know, I like them both. And I'd be a huge hypocrite if I told Albert Pujols not to take money for stinking at his job, because I do that every single month here at SBR. So, you got to take that money when they're going to give it to you, no matter how bad you are. At your job. I mean, I told you at the beginning of the year, his name forever for me will be Pujol, because that's how he hits. It's like a poo hole. If he's in the 2-hole, the 3-hole, the 4-hole, dude hasn't been good since he signed that contract, really. And teams know that. The Tigers are going through this with Miguel Cabrera right now. It's the same exact situation. These great players, these massive contracts that these players are just going to write it out and take that free $100 million. And look, it's hard for me to tell someone don't take the free $100 million. It really is.
The whole issue to me comes down to, because nobody in their right mind is going to retire. That means in Major League Baseball, you don't get your money. The team just is off the hook for like 30 or 40 million bucks. Everybody is going to ride it out for that payday. But the simple fact that Albert Pujols is like, I'm an everyday player. You should be playing me every day. And how disrespectful to cut me. And they're like, dude, you are here's a massive payout that's going to hit your bank account Tuesday. Thank you for being an angel, but we don't want to see you again. That's disrespectful. And also, I blame on Albert Pujols, because you bring up a good point, Jason. If Albert Pujols comes out before the season and goes, this is my last year, number one, the Angels don't cut him. Number two, he gets a send-off tour, and he can hit a $120 for the whole year, and nobody's going to get mad, because you're going to enjoy what he did in the past. But the fact that he pushed the issue, like, I still should be playing every day, I don't know why I'm not, and now you're cutting me, it's disrespectful. Stop the madness out here. It's not disrespectful. He's been terrible for the Angels.
He still might be better than Francisco Lindor. I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, Pujols in center field would be a better option than Lindor right now. 907, 908. We'll get to Baltimore here. Decent weather situation here between Perez and Lopez. If we look at the numbers here, Pinnacle opens up at a -143. That now sits around -140. The New Jersey outlets at around $1.50 here. FanDuel showing 148. If we look at Bet365 here in New Jersey, 135. Nines across the board. Anytime we looked at Baltimore, we're usually looking to try to take a team total over in that respect. Both of these pitchers can be had. The problem I have is usually anytime Martin Perez is in the lineup, I want to try to fade him and go the opposite way. But the bats just don't line up to me for the Baltimore Orioles against Perez today. Oh, do we just fade him every time he takes the mound, Jason? Or what are you looking at here between Boston and Baltimore?
I think there's a theme today. If you just went and blindly just took the underdogs today, you'd probably get some profit today. I like the Orioles over 3.5 on the team total. I think even Orioles plus 1.5 in the full game. You can look at the first 5 plus 0.5. I think the Orioles have a legitimate shot at scoring some runs. The top of the order is still good against lefties. Lopez, I think he's trending in the right direction. I think he's getting a little bit better now. You look at his numbers, they're just better than I think you expected when you looked at them this morning. So I do like Lopez more than Perez. Obviously, the Red Sox lineup is a lot better, but I think Lopez can do enough. And really, the reality is the Red Sox, they have 4 big bats, and then the rest are just really inconsistent bats as well. Same goes for the Orioles. The top of the order, they're really good bats. Mullins, Hayes, Mancini, they're good bats. And then it just kind of falls off. So I think it's more of a 50-50 type of a game. I think Lopez is trending right in the better direction. Martin Perez does have a 3.28 FIP, though, compared to his 4.4 ERA. So that helps Perez a little bit. So, again, I'm not taking this game. I think the Orioles over 3.5 team total is the best play for this game. But, again, if you take all the underdogs in this slate, I do think you'll end up with profit today.
No, it should be. If we look at this game also, Kyle, here, coming from, we always take a look at some of those no runs in the first inning. But if I'm looking that way, I think it would be wrong. So I'm actually looking the opposite direction here, because if we look at the anticipated lineups here going against Perez, maybe your 3 best hitters in the lineup against lefties for the Orioles will be coming up 1, 2, 3, Mullins, Hayes, and Mancini. And then if we flip it over to Boston, you better get your runs. I saw before I compound on that, last week somebody put out a tweet that was basically saying, like, the 1, 2, 3, 4 slots or 5 slots for the Red Sox have been on fire. And then like 6, 7, 8, and 9 have been an absolute automatic out. And it seems like it sets up that way as well. Verdugo, 377 weighted on base average. Martinez, 481. Bogarts, 427. And Devers, 398. So maybe one of those where if you don't like the game overall, hey, if they're not going to score in the first inning and you flip the lineup over heading into the second, maybe if not scoring in the third, you look for a depressed market in the fourth, fifth, and sixth innings to try to jump in on a game total or even a team total. How are you going to approach this game, Kyle, down in Baltimore tonight?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. Those 1 through 5 hitters are their only good hitters, but they've done that to the tune of being the highest scoring team in baseball. So they're doing something right there. When I look at this, this one was tough for me too, because both lineups actually profile pretty well against the opposing starting pitcher today. But when I look at Jorge Lopez's last 5 starts against Boston, just in terms of fantasy points, it's not good. 0-0, 3-6-3. That's what we're getting here. So Boston has certainly figured out a way to hit Jorge Lopez. And then when you flip it over to Perez, it's 37, 9, 40, and a 0. So they've both had, well, Perez has had some success and some really bad starts, which is exactly what Martin Perez is. That'll be on his Wikipedia page, probably on his headstone. Lopez has struggled more. And so when I look at this and I see here on my bookie, I'm getting in the first 5 minus 0.5 at plus 100 for the Red Sox, I think I'll take a sprinkle there. You could do a whole lot worse for plus money than the highest scoring team in baseball against the Baltimore Orioles. So I think if I'm leaning aside here, I'll take that Red Sox first 5 plus 100. Definitely not taking a nerfy here. And I'd say the game probably leans to an over as well. I like both lineups against the opposing pitcher today.
Thank you guys for checking out the show here on a Monday. Thumbs up, thumbs down, hit the buttons, hit the retweet buttons. And if you do need more information on being a better gambler at Major League Baseball, why don't you click on that link below, sbrpicks.com/MLB. As I'm looking right now, will there be a run scored in the first inning? Yes is minus 110. Mikey 8088 says Orioles team total over 3.5 is very tempting. It is tempting, even though they don't line up. Martin Perez should have some traffic on the base paths. But hear me out on this stuff. Like when you watch the Orioles, and sometimes there is no jump-in point that you can get back in on a pregame number. But if I would tell you right now, let's just say the Orioles team total is 3.5, and Perez opens up decent. Now we're taking a look at the third inning, and it's 2.5, 2 runners on, and minus 125 or minus 130 juice. It's amazing that the numbers that you decompress, and I find myself now, because I do like to bet pregame on some games that I really like because I don't want to miss the number, and I think there is value in it. But I stress way more on a full game wager than I do simply on a live in-game wager, because I'm looking at it as a 15 to 20 minute to maybe a 30-minute sprint when I'm jumping in game. It's usually a sweat all the way from at least the first inning to the 6th inning, typically when you're trying to cash a team total. Maybe the 5th inning, or if you get lucky earlier than that, you don't have to. But when you see those numbers 3.5 and 4.5, boy, it feels a lot better when you have 1 run on the board, let's just say for the Orioles, as I said, and a team total of 2.5 with a runner on second base and 1 out in the 4th inning. Like, wait a second. If I would ask every single time, would I rather have the Orioles 3.5 to start the game, or the Orioles already with 1 on the board and the 2.5 and a man on second base and 1 out? It's almost a no-brainer here. So just trying to educate, because I know somebody came in the chat box and was like, hey, thanks for sharing what you think about. That's what we're all about here, sharing exactly what we see on here, which makes the most sense. Yesterday in the Mets game, didn't have time. I was just, hanging out Mother's Day, jumped in on the Mets when they got into the 6th inning with 2 runners on with a team total of 3. And already had 2 runs on the, or 3.5 2 runs on the board with 2 men on, nobody out, and then going into the bullpen. I'm saying, like, where do I sign up? They have 4 innings basically if it goes to the 9th, but really 6th, 7th, and 8th innings to get 2 runs, almost a free roll at that point. It makes a whole heck of a lot of sense to wait in game. So case in point, if you're thinking about jumping in, you say, I don't know. Wait a couple innings and be like, wow, this was 3.5. I have 2 now as I head into the 5th inning or the 6th inning, and I need 1 run for a free roll with 12 outs to go. Think about that when you're betting these games if you don't like it all that much to start here. But looking at the games here, Kyle, I do think the early game, Baltimore and Boston here, theoretically should go over small ballpark. It just doesn't have a great eye plane for me, but let's keep moving on here to a game we're going to use conjecture on because we're waiting for a starting pitcher. And if you watch the shows last year between me and Jason, whenever Suarez was on the mound, the lefty, it didn't matter. We were going all in and going team totals and overs, and it seemed to work out well. Now, we're going to anticipate Suarez does start for the Angels, which automatically leads me over to the Houston Astros. Jason, talk about this game as if Suarez is pitching.
Yeah, so if Suarez is pitching, the Astros should do some damage. Now, they are the home team, so probably getting just 8 innings. But, Suarez, 2 games last year, 2.1 innings pitched, 0-2. So he's had 2 games, 2.1 innings, just 2.1 innings and 2 losses in 2 games. That tells you all you need to know. He was on pace to walk 20 batters per 9 innings, on pace to allow 4 home runs per 9 innings, a batting average of balls in play 60.643, and left on base just 41% of runners. So obviously not a whole lot of batters, but just goes to show you how awful he was last year. The Angels now, they need a starter, of course. They just called him up from AAA. Should be the pitcher. They might, go with like another reliever and then pitch him later. I think he's in the plan for today, whether he starts or he doesn't start. But if he's not starting, we can just kind of wait a couple innings, like Donnie says, live bet it when Suarez comes in, and you might just get, a 3.5 or even a 3. So we're going to wait on that. We're going to see what that's all about. But if Suarez is in, I will definitely let you guys know on Twitter that I will be on the Astros in that game. So we're still looking, still waiting. But if Suarez is in the game, we're going to be making a wager at some point.
Yeah, looking at FanDuel right now, minus 146 here is a favorite for the Astros. Also keep in mind good stuff as well. You saw on Saturday, the roof was open in Texas. The ball was flying around. Now, that's the Texas Rangers, obviously still in the state of Texas. And you move even farther south to Houston. Tonight, about 86 degrees. That roof is projected to be open. So that ball is going to get all over the place there. And I believe it was Friday night or Saturday night where Houston went nuts as well at the plate with the roof completely open down in Houston. It's nice that Houston, who opens it like once every decade at Minute Maid Park, I have no idea why, and I always like to insult the fans of Houston and say, well, they don't like to sit in 85 degrees. It's too warm to go to a game. Well, the fact that now COVID is here and forces that roof open, it's fantastic for scoring options. So looking at this game, Kyle, heading into it, anticipating the roof being open, FanDuel's listing this total as a 9. If we're getting Suarez, there's no reason to believe that with a little bit of juice, you can get Houston at 4.5. And if Suarez is in, they should do some damage here.
Absolutely. I actually like both lineups tonight. Now, I know Rendon is out, but you look at Luis Garcia's last 3 starts against the Angels, 16-7-2. The lineup's actually, it's only 6 of 17, but I know Garcia's been better his past couple of starts, but he's a very gettable pitcher, and I actually don't mind doing a little sprinkle on the Ohtani home run prop today. 88% advantage. Lefties for the Angels should be able to get it done. Walsh, Ohtani, even Trout hits righties better than lefties. So there are some opportunities for both lineups. Obviously, you talked about the deficiencies of Suarez. So, I mean, obviously there's no line out yet because the pitchers, in terms of, unless you guys have a total in this game. But if you're getting a total here of, anywhere for me, like if I'm just picking a line without seeing it, of anywhere from 8.5 to 9.5, I'd probably take the over here. I think both teams can score. The ball can fly out. If it is Suarez, I will favor Houston just a little bit here. But I do like both lineups. I don't have a team total for the Angels, but I do like those lefties. And I'm going to do a little sprinkle of some home run prop here on Ohtani, who has hit 1 home run in 2 at-bats against Garcia.
Yeah, I don't have anything lined up here on BetMGM as a total. Let me just check really quick here on FanDuel to see if we have anything that's opened up there. There's nothing there because obviously they're waiting on the confirmed pitching reports, which it shouldn't take too long for us to get these going. But we'll see what happens here. But let's take a look at some. What's that?
It's a 9.5.
9.5.
No, I was looking for team. I was looking for team total.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing's out for either.
Yeah,
not even
I wish there was a team total, of course, but.
Yeah, we'll be able to take a look at those. Best bets on the Major League board. Good luck on that one tonight. I don't have a best bet and a banker in these games, but looking at the card for myself, something worthy to bet on. Obviously, I do have the Astros circled, but I can't circle a play and this be like, hey, there's no numbers. Let me just make it up. Yeah, you know what? Houston at 4 minus 125. Like, wait a second. No book is even hanging that out there. He just made that number up. So I can't have that there. Looking at the Reds team total, but before we do that, we haven't even checked in on another game on the card that's a little bit later. I do like the Reds a little bit here, and I know it's a little cop-out. Well, are you going to bet them? Probably not. Am I going to bet the Houston Astros? Maybe, but we're doing a live show here at 2:54 Eastern, and there's no team total, so I can't just make one up like, hey, if you get this number, go ahead and bet it. But there is a third one here I'm going to wait on. Any best bets or bankers for you, Jason? Or what are you looking at tonight on the card here to try to dig into?
Yeah, it's really tough right now. The more I kind of talk on this show, I'm thinking maybe go the Donnie strategy and just go with the live team totals here. I'm looking at this Rangers versus Giants game. You got Kyle Gibson versus Alex Wood. Now, Kyle Gibson for the Rangers has been excellent. Alex Wood for the Giants has been terrific. But the Texas Rangers, they've scored about 7.5 runs per game in the last 3 versus the Mariners. They've hit lefties pretty well this season. And I know Alex Wood has been really good, but we go back to last year. We go back to the year before that. Alex Wood was never an eighth pitcher the way he's performing right now. And I'm not saying he's not going to be good this year. I'm just saying I think he's going to regress to some degree. And again, the Rangers, they're third in the MLB in home runs versus lefties. They are first in the MLB in doubles against lefties. They're also hitting 250 or over 250 against lefties. And like, for example, the Athletics against lefties, they're just hitting 230. And we talk about how they're terrific against lefties as well with their righties. So the Rangers, their offenses look pretty good. They're going up against a lefty, and you can get their team total at over 2.5 at -150. But the more I think about this, if they struggle the first 2 innings, you get, 2, maybe a 1.5 with high juice for the Rangers with like 7 innings to go, as they're the road team. So if we can get that number down to 2 at a reasonable price, I think that's a really good look for the Rangers. So I might, put a little bit of money on the Rangers over 2.5 at -150 to start the game, but definitely look at in play if you can get over 2, over 1.5 for the Rangers against the lefty. It just seems like a no-brainer here, especially with the Giants allowing 11 runs to the Padres yesterday.
Yeah, and actually, the roof looks like it's going to be open as well, or excuse me, the roof open as well. San Francisco Giants, 66 degrees, 7-mile-an-hour wind blowing out the dead center. That's about optimum conditions in San Francisco. Kyle, best bets and bankers here for you.
It's tough today. You're absolutely right, but I think I'm going to go with that Boston first 5 at +100. I like the plus money spot there. I think they can get it done. I like how Devers in particular, JD Martinez, even Bogart's very, very good against righties. I think Verdugo, 3 of 4 lifetime off of Lopez, including a home run. Even Marwin Gonzalez here, a little bit better versus righties than lefties, a switch hitter at the top of the order. So I think Boston can get it done today. I'm going to take that Boston first 5 -0.5 at +100. I like that Rangers team total that Jason talked about. And I'm not exactly sure who's pitching for the Marlins. Looks like it's going to be pitching by committee, but I sort of like how their lineup profiles tonight against Weaver as well.
Yeah, that's a decent look here in this one, because let's quickly go over that Marlins Diamondbacks game out in the desert. Nice conditions here, 90 degrees at first pitch. Looks like the roof is going to be open, which will make a difference. And to be honest, I'm looking at Luke with Weaver. I think they can damage him, the Miami Marlins, and that all you need is 4 runs and you're halfway there to an actual game total. But I don't give a damn who's pitching for the Marlins. Who are we talking about coming in, looking like an opener with Detweiler, maybe hands off to Holloway? There's no reason to believe that the Arizona hitters, who before going out on the road were scoring just as many runs as anybody else in baseball, if not more, who's to say they don't get home and that opens back up here for us? So if I'm looking for a total, which I usually go to team's totals, which aren't out in this game, the 8.5 sounds respectable for me. Jason, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's definitely respectable. I agree. Like I said, this is just a weird slate. Maybe watch a lot of these games early and then just see how they're playing out and bet them. This is a weird time. Like, the weather isn't in the greatest place. It isn't great in some of these places. So just for the entire slate, I would just kind of be careful. Kind of just take it game by game, watch them, see how they're playing out, and maybe bet from there when you get better numbers. Maybe that means a lot of no runs first innings. And for most of these games, maybe we're definitely going to hope for that. So it's a weird slate. Don't go crazy. Wait till tomorrow for the most part. But if you can get some good numbers early on in these games with no runs early, why not take some of these lines? So, I agree with that 8.5. But again, just be careful.
You see the Twitter profiles below our names there, at RightSideVP, at Jason_Radowitz, and at the FS Bachelor. Follow us on these. This is fun for us later tonight. I know we come on a show. Usually we have the exact game plan ready to go, but there's not that many games tonight. 1 rained out, so 5 left, and 2 of them have pitching discrepancies, which leaves us with 3 games to actually talk about today. But if there is something that we are digging on or makes sense or pops up, you follow me on Twitter, guys. Every time I go a live team total that's worthwhile, I put it out there. So you're going to be able to see it, or even before a game, if something doesn't look right, we finally get the Marlins pitching matchups, or, we finally get a okay on who's actually pitching for the Angels. If we like it, we'll put it out there, and that's how we're going to dip into it and have fun. I wish I did have a best bet and banker. They're a lot of fun, and you see the atom bomb goes off when we hit it. We all party off into the night. There's not that available today. Much better card tomorrow, obviously, because there's more games on the slate here. Quickly, thoughts on this final game here, Kyle. Texas Rangers, San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, this is another one where I'm looking at some cheap numbers, and I like that 2.5 team total that Jason talked about. I know it's a little bit steamed up, but I still like that. Both lineups actually profile well. I like the lefties for the Giants, and let's keep in mind the Giants have been absolutely stellar at home, 12-4 at home this year. They've been very, very good. But Crawford, 36% advantage, Belt, 36, Yastrzemski, 15, Tauchman, 48, even Mauricio Dubon, 2%. So I like both lineups here. Thank you, Akbar. I did get the haircut finally, which needed to happen. I looked like Sideshow Bob, for Christ's sake. But I like the team totals for both teams. You are getting a plus money number on the Giants in the first 5, minus 0.5 at plus 100. So if you believe in them at home, that might be a way to go. But both teams, I think, both pitchers have been pretty good, and Gibson's been way better than we thought. But slight lean to the Giants in the first 5, and I do like that team total for the Rangers over 2.5. I think that makes a ton of sense.
All right, let's wrap it up here. The odds lightning round. That was the odds lightning round because, wow, there's only 2 games to shoot around on the odds. But also keep in mind, a little bit later this week, we're working on some graphic stuff behind the scenes for some fast food value menu wagers to throw in with our best bets and bankers. So keep an eye out for that as we go a little bit later. But let's clear the bases and get out of here. So we'll just quickly wrap this one up here. The games I was looking at today, the Reds team total, the Astros team total, the Marlins team total, only one of those games is actually up with a team total. The other 2, Astros and Marlins, we are waiting on. Follow me on Twitter. If I have anything on these games, I'll certainly tweet those out and have some fun. Go ahead, Jason, wrap it up here with what you're looking at tonight on the Major League Baseball card.
Yeah, so I love the, of course, the Astros on their team total. Right now, I am seeing at Bet America, it is minus 130 over 4.5. So it's not too bad. Still going to wait to see if I can get a better line and obviously make sure that Suarez is the pitcher. So don't put that wager in yet, but it looks like it's going to be an over 4.5 if we're going to go pregame. Obviously, if we're going mid-game, then we will get probably a better line. But we'll see. If Suarez is starting, we have to just bite the bullet and take it in the first inning because you just never know what could happen with him. Then, of course, like I said, I do like the Rangers over 2.5 at minus 150. That might be official before the game begins, or I might just wait on that. So, again, like Donnie says, you can follow us all on Twitter, and you'll get those updates there. And we'll make sure you guys cash with us tonight.
Seeing some team totals here coming out. Astros, look at this, 4.5. This tells you something. 4.5 minus 150 is the number that we're looking on the Astros with the predictive lineups that we're looking at against the pitching matchups. If you flip it over the other side, 3.5 minus 150 if you're looking from an Angels perspective. Kyle, go ahead and give us a wrap up here on your best bets and bankers.
Yeah, and I think I can get down with that Angels team total at 3.5 there against Garcia. So I think that makes sense here. And, of course, we'd like the Astros one if it is indeed Suarez. I do like the Red Sox here. Minus 0.5 plus 100 makes a ton of sense. People are asking about home run props. I like Ohtani today and a little sprinkle on J.D. Martinez off of Lopez there in the Baltimore-Boston game. So Martinez and Ohtani would be the 2 guys I'm looking at for home runs tonight.
And by the way, real quick here, Fox Bet here also has odds up here for the Arizona Diamondbacks and Miami Marlins totals. 3.5 is minus 175 if you want to get it down that low for the Diamondbacks. 4.5 plus 100. But if you look at the Marlins here, 2.5 is minus 263, which obviously is pretty steep. But 3.5 is only minus 138 for those Marlins tonight. So we'll wait to see if we have some official lineups come out if that makes sense. But that's 9 full at bats to get 4 runs here with the roof open in the desert against a bad bullpen. Might be something that we like here and try to get after. Well, thank you guys for joining us here for the Monday Major League Baseball show right here at sportsbookreview.com. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz along with Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbookreview.com. And this was your Major League Baseball show. Good luck on that short card wagers tonight.